For our Shabbat candle lighting and Kiddush, we invite Barbara Bachman to lead us. So Barbara, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll turn this, you can see the candles.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Let's see. That's good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvah tov v'tzivanu lahadlich ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
I'll continue with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Lecha dodi likrat galai b'nei Shabbat. Lecha
O God, where can I find you? Your glory fills the world. Behold, I find you in the mind free to sail by its own star, in words that spring from the depth of truth, where a scientist toils to unravel your world's secrets, where an artist makes beauty in your world, where men and women struggle for freedom among the lonely and the poor, the lowly and the lost, wherever noble deeds are done. Let's all read together. I can find you in the merry shouts of children at play.
In the mother's lullaby as she rocks her baby to sleep, in the sleep that falls on an infant's eyes, in the smile that falls on sleeping lips, and in the child as she grows to embrace a world of wonders, a world of fun and light, of laughter, dreams, radiance, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravi.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim va'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'sholpecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם. shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. Le'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu levayim. Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Help us, O God. Help us, O God, to lie down in peace. But teach us that peace means more than quiet. Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed of how we live by day. Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep. Rid us of resentments and hatreds, which rob us of the peace we crave. Liberate us from enslaving habits, which disturb us and give us no rest. May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit by another's loss. May we so live that we can free the whole world with dignity. May we commit no act during the day that will bring us remorse at night. May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer life. Let's now continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beit olam. Beini ubein b'nei Yisrael, b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beit olam. Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beit olam.
In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. Let's continue now with the Amidah HaTefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Bichamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechaye, Umatzviach Yeshua, Benemana Talachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, Ukdoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atah hu melech hadosh, Lechol hashalom, Ki atah hu melech hadosh, Lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Let's pause for a moment of silent meditation. We now think of those in our community who are in need of healing, whether they are in need of physical, mental, or spiritual healing. Take them into our hearts this time of prayer. Let's continue now with our Misha Berach. Like to mention the names of loved ones you are thinking of, please enter their name in the chat box. I'm now going to read the names of those who congregants have asked for Misha Berach to be said in their honor. Louis Abelach, Evan Bin, Fran Brickman, Joe Brickman, John Conway, Mark Edelstein, Brian Edelstein, Mark Enfinger, Danielle Heyman Feist, Linda Fine, Eric Fisk, Buddy Green, Vicky Hano, Joan Keller, Fran Kipling, Lori Cattleman, Hank Corin, Wendy Sugarman Krosnoff, Elsa Makosh, Miriam Merens, Carolee Pizzuti, Fred Paniski, Janet Polfrey, Jane Rifkin, Jess Rifkin, Rhoda Ross, Ted Ross, Cal Simon, Leah Slavensky, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, Rhonda Weinberg, and Janet White. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This feels like it's probably a universal experience. Has anyone ever received a gift from a loved one that they just couldn't stand? It was just a terrible gift. It was an ugly sweater. It was a funky purse. It was just something that, a piece of jewelry you didn't like, a piece of silverware, artwork, whatever it was, just unpleasant and ugly. But you can't say that to the person who gave it to you. That would be not very nice, a little impolite, cause some hurt feelings. I think we've all had those moments where we get a gift that we'd really prefer to return or exchange, and I was supposed to say how lovely it is, how wonderful it is. I feel like that's the Israelites' relationship with manna. God gives them manna from heaven, this supposedly delicious, miraculous substance that rains down from the sky. And the Israelites would take it, they'd collect it, and they would eat it. And it's supposed to be just amazing and rich and creamy. The Midrash tells us that it could taste like anything. It could taste, like desserts. It could taste like meat. Whatever you want it to taste like, that's what manna can taste like. That sounds pretty darn good. Turns out that gift isn't exactly all that it's cracked up to be. And so we're going to take a little bit of a look at our Torah portion and check out why this might be the case. And so we're in Deuteronomy. Moses is retelling the story of the Israelites' experience through the wilderness. And we come across this verse in Deuteronomy 8:3. It says, Parshat Akev, God subjected you to the hardship of hunger and then gave you the manna to eat, which neither you nor your ancestors had ever known, in order to teach you that a human being does not live on bread alone, but that a person may live on anything that the Eternal decrees. So we find here in this verse, God subjects us to hunger. God sort of makes us sort of suffer through the wilderness. But there's a bright side. We have manna. And isn't manna tasty? But if we really read it closely, we can read it as if the manna itself, as a gift, is a hardship also, right? Because it's new, never had it before, and to teach us a lesson, right? That we don't live on bread alone, that the manna in itself is a test. And if that verse doesn't make it clear, it's actually said explicitly a few verses later. God fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your ancestors had not known, in order to test you by hardship, only to benefit you in the end. Again, this gift might not all be peaches and cream. The manna can taste like peaches and cream. So we have a problem here with this manna. What's the problem with manna? What's so wrong about it? It sounds wonderful. It sounds just delicious and delightful. What's the problem with manna? Well, we see in the Torah not one but multiple occasions where manna is just seen as not good enough, doesn't cut it. So we see in Numbers the riffraff, in their midst, sort of the people who might not have been at the top of the ladder here, the riffraff, the Am Haaretz in their midst, felt a gluttonous craving. They were hungry, and the Israelites wept. If only we had meat to eat. If only we can go to Burns. That steak is just waiting for us there. Remember the fish, the grouper we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, the garlic, all that good stuff, so tasty in Egypt. The slavery, not so great, but at least we ate well. It's like going to the buffet, is what comparing this to. The slavery, they're forgetting, the food, top notch. Now, our gullets are shriveled. There is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look to. Not great. They don't love the manna. They want a little diversity. And I get it. It can be a little hard. We're eating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. There's only so many times you can have, the same piece of chicken, the same, piece of fish. You want a little diversity in your diet. Too much manna, maybe a problem. Maybe a little ungrateful, maybe a little bit of a problem. They don't care for it. Okay, and so then we get another passage. The Israelites, they set out from Mount Hor by way of the Sea of Reeds to skirt the land of Edom. They're schlepping. They like to schlep. But the people grew restive on the journey. It's hot. Who wants to be schlepping out there in the wilderness? You get a little cranky too. Little, it's a dry heat. Maybe it doesn't help you so much. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. They're walking. Their sandals are wearing out. So the people speak against God and Moses. Why did you make us leave Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread. There's no water. There's no margarita. And we've come to loathe this miserable food. Miserable food, of course, meaning the manna. Once again, not so grateful. When God gives you a gift, it's probably better to say nice things. Maybe you hurt Grandma Ethel's feelings, but you hurt God's feelings, it's a problem. Because in the God sends serpents against the people, these fiery serpents who then bite the people, and many of the Israelites died. So we can see a lot of complaining around manna. About maybe how the way it tastes, maybe it's not enough variety, maybe they're bored and cranky anyway. When you're bored and cranky anyway, any food, that might be before you isn't the right thing, isn't what you want to eat when you're just in a bad mood. But the Talmud comes in with a different idea. The Talmud comes in and has a different perception of this problem. So when it says that God afflicts them sort of with manna, what's the problem with manna? There is no comparison between one who has bread in his basket and one who does not have bread in his basket. The affliction, meaning in eating the manna, is that there was no leftover food for the next day. Each of the people would worry that there might not be any more food to eat the next day. That's the stress with manna, because it wasn't about the food itself. It's that it's an act of faith. It's an act of trust. Since they can keep it for the next day. If you keep it the next day, it spoils, it goes bad, it's rotten. So they didn't have any food unless they had manna the next day. But who knows? Maybe that would be a day where God would forget. Maybe God wouldn't send the manna that day. So once they ate their meal, they didn't necessarily know where their next meal was coming from. If that would be something that would happen or not happen. It was a miracle each day that they would get this food. And so the manna, it's really a test of faith. It's a sign of trust between God and the Israelites that this food is going to be there tomorrow. And that's not easy, because right now we're sitting at home, a little walk over to the fridge, and we got food, God willing. We're in the pantry. We have a little bit of a nosh. If we're hungry, it's up to us. It's our own devices, right? That we can go grab a little bissel of something. If you're a little hungry, a little thirsty, there's food, to have a little bite. And if there's not much in your house, you pick up the phone, you have curbside service, you have delivery, touchless delivery at the house, Chinese food, Italian, whatever you want. You can have a little bit of something to eat. We are in control of our food supply, God willing. The Israelites, not so much. They're not in control. They don't know when their next meal is going to come, or if they don't have the power, I should say, to bring it about. They have to trust it's going to be there. And that's a real hardship, because we know that there are many people who don't have access to food in the same way. Food insecurity is a very real and very present problem, not only in the nation, but also across the world. If we think about it, there's so many people who go to bed hungry. There's so many people who don't know, what's going to happen for them the next day when it comes to their food. According to a fairly recent report, there was over 37 million people in the United States that struggle with hunger. And you have, just in Florida, almost 3 million people struggling with hunger, over 800,000 of them children. 1 in 5 children struggle with hunger. And it's not only children, it's seniors also. Over 5 million seniors face hunger problems in the country, food insecurity. People of color, disproportionately affected. 1 in 6 Latino households in the United States struggle with hunger. More than 18% of Latino children are at risk. 1 in 4 children in African-American communities have trouble getting food to eat. And of course, we know with COVID, it's only making things worse. Unemployment, underemployment, food scarcity, this problem is only getting worse. And there is, I think, it's a real issue for us right now, those of us who, God willing, again, have food to eat, have food security, to take a moment to think about those who don't. Think about those who wonder where their next meal is going to come from, how they're going to get the proper nutrition. And so this Shabbat, I invite you over the weekend, next week, maybe take a look, take a gander at some organizations that work to help people in need, to help people who are in need of food. We have so many wonderful foundations, organizations that are there to help address this issue, to help people with food insecurity, to people who are hungry. And I'm just going to plug just one. I'm going to just talk about Mazon. Mazon is a Hebrew word for food. Mazon is the Jewish response to hunger. It's a really wonderful organization. It partners with synagogues, with other not-for-profits, with food organizations, works within different local and federal governments in order to advocate and to help people who are in need of food. It's a really wonderful, really fantastic organization. We do a lot of great work. And so if you're able to, this is a portion of the Torah that speaks about gratitude, right, for the blessings that we have, the blessings of food and the blessings of security that God has given us. Now is a good time, while we are struggling, through this pandemic, to really think about those who are hungry, who are in need. And if you could find it in your heart, certainly, to help out the cause, that would really be a mitzvah, really be a wonderful thing. Because our tradition teaches us, that we are responsible. We're responsible for those who are afflicted in our society, afflicted in our community. And so now is the time to stand up. Now is the time to help out and really help all peoples who are in trouble, who are suffering from scarcity of food, because we know no one should go to bed hungry, and everyone should have that security of knowing where the next meal is going to come from. So please, let's all do our part. Amen. We're going to continue now in our service with Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latekidu la liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Ushemo Echad.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We recall loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. Those who died in the past year, we remember Robert Sand, Lee Benjamin, Jim Shapiro, Mildred Cohn, Sal Spinicia, Vita Felmis, Jay North, Gwen Hirschfield, Maxine Roth, Howard Rubin, Sheldon Ginsberg, Larry Krug, Gene Weissman, Jacob Jack Moshbitz, and Jerry Bender. We think of those that this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Observing the yahrzeit this week of Jacob Azarva, George Barr, Elsie Bensky, Etta Bilgor, Lillian Chaffetz, Clarence Coleman, Sarah Kahn, J. Edward Dalton, Margit Deminy, Benno Deminy, Albert Dralnik, Rachel Dvorkin, Esther Einstein, Isidore Epstein, Fred Feldman, Ria Garfield, Sarah Applebaum Gastel, Marjorie Gray, Lorraine Ismark, Mildred Bennett Juster, Goldie Kasowitz, Gloria King, Pauline Lefkowitz, Shirley Levine, Lillian Moses, Deborah Nussman Stever, James Pollock, Nishka Anna Pollock, David Poller, Margie Rubin, Louis Rubin, Esther Sachs, Mary Schaefer, Betty Seidman, Lillian Shapiro, Anita Schinbaum, Ray Siegel, Beatrice Small, Sam Smirnow, Molly Stone, Dee Dee Strumpf, Yetta Tollering, Robert Topper, Richard Vosper, Dorothy Weinzimmer, and Solomon C. Zients. If you're also remembering someone this evening and like to mention a name, please enter it into our chat box. The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Continue now with the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam lo'mei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'Kudashah b'richu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chlata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bin Ramav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. As together we say, amen. It's now my pleasure to invite to come forward and to unmute our temple president, Nina Warshawski.
Shabbat Shalom, Temple B'nai Israel. Thank you, Cantor Rabbi, for a nice service. You guys all know what I'm going to say. It's finally here. Tomorrow is our fundraiser. TBI's Got Talent. I looked through the list of everybody who is here. A lot of you are signed up. Thank you so much. Those of you who aren't, there's still time. You can sign up. You can go to the TBI website and find the link. There'll be a text coming out that'll have a registration link. There's a lot of great talent. There are some super duper surprises that will blow your mind. That's all I have to say. So sign up. I hope to see you there, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Nina. We're all excited. It's really going to be, I think, a really wonderful, fantastic event. So many people have worked so hard to make this come true. This is our first foray into online fundraising, so it's really exciting. And I know it's going to be spectacular. So hopefully everyone's going to sign up, and everyone can be there, and everyone can help support the synagogue. We're now going to continue with Motzi, Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Everyone can unmute themselves. We're going to go into our breakout rooms and have a chance to wish each other a good Shabbos and have a little time just to hang out. And so if you stick around a little bit, we'll have some time to chat.